I appreciate you guys been waiting very patiently, but now it's time to wrap up the SpaceLab project and help them implement their new brand identity. Ever wanted to know what goes on behind a rebrand project or the transformation an organization takes when changing their brand identity and repositioning themselves to focus on a more targeted audience or business direction? Well, come join us as we take you through a real-life rebrand of an organization that needs assistance to build a professional brand identity system. We are Black Bear Creative, a family-run design studio based in Australia, and we specialize in creating brand identities for companies big and small. So over the years, we have developed a framework called the 4-step brand design process, which we'll be using to help out our friends at SpaceLab Brazil. This mini-series will show you SpaceLab's rebrand journey from the initial discovery meetings to concept logo design and all the way through to the final implementation. So if you're interested in brand identity design or want to learn more about our framework, then stay tuned and enjoy. So what's up everyone, welcome back to another episode of the mini-series. We hope that you found the last episode useful on feedback and refinement. If you haven't, then I suggest you go back and watch that episode or the previous episodes. So just a quick recap, we have completed the discovery session, our research, prototyping, and got the final approval on the refined concepts from round 2. And now we have to prepare all the brand identity assets and get them ready for implementation. Okay, so how do you actually prepare a brand identity for implementation? So implementation is often overlooked in the process due to the lack of education provided from the designer to the client. But first, what is an asset? So an asset is a name we like to give useful files that will be used in the implementation of the brand identity in the day-to-day business operations. So this can include the logo files, style guides, or supporting documentation, specific font files, and even more. So what tends to happen at the end of the project is the client receives the assets and they're super excited to use them. So the next thing you know, or later on down the track, the designer sees some of their new marketing material being rolled out and then dies in horror when they see how their client is applying the new brand identity. Seeing it with totally different colors, stretching the logo out of proportion, making it look super unprofessional, or just using the wrong type of typography, photos, and just missing the mark when it comes to the actual new implementation, pushing the brand into the new direction. So to ensure that the client implements the design correctly, it's up to the designer themselves to provide the necessary education, the guidelines to ensure the best practices. Even if the client has a whole design team behind them, they still need some sort of guidelines to keep the consistency with the style and overall brand message. So here are some ways that the 4-step brand design process does this. So the first thing is to provide the logo files. So now we need to prepare the correct logo file for the client to use. We need to include as many useful logo files as possible, but only the ones that pass the initial testing phase. We need to include 2 different versions of the files, or 2 different sets. So the first set will be in CMYK, and the second set, or the second group of files, will be in RGB, which is for digital. So both sets have their own different color profile. With CMYK using cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, or black, whatever, I don't know why they call it K, whatever, but it's black, which is used in the printing process. While RGB uses only red, green, and blue, which is used to create the colors you see on your digital device. Or anything with a screen, it uses those 3 colors to create it. So that's why you see differences in, a particular green on a printed object compared to the same green in terms of color values on a screen. That's why they look different. So that's why we need to color match the print colors to a physical color swatch so we have a more accurate color representation. So that's when you see us bring out the Pantone swatch booklets or the CMYK swatch booklets so we can actually go through, match them to match the physical swatch to what we see on the screen. Get as close as possible to what we see on the screen. So each set will have the following file types: EPS, a JPEG, a PNG, an SVG, and a PDF. These are currently the most commonly used file types using businesses and companies, but if needed, we can even provide some special requested files. So along with these file types, we typically include a full color version of the logo, a reverse color version, which is used for dark backgrounds, a white and black version, and even a grayscale version. So then we'll export all these files and ensure that they're all organized and labeled neatly so they can easily be found by the client when they're searching them up. There's nothing more annoying when you have a big folder full of different files and everything's just named incorrectly and things just don't make sense, and it takes you like half an hour to find one little file. So we like to keep it nice and neat, nice and organized, just so it's easier to use for the client. And this will make the implementation phase as smooth as possible. We'll even include some social media assets such as profile images, banner images, and even some image posts as well. This just removes the thinking and guessing on the client side and also allows them to quickly implement their new brand identity correctly. So what is very common, especially with smaller businesses as well, their launch is very digital. It's always on social media, letting people know about a new website, new product, new campaign. So we just like to help that process by providing our own pre-made social media assets so they can all they need to do is upload. So the other crucial part of the implementation phase is the style guide. So what is a style guide? So a style guide outlines the best practices on how to use the brand identity. So it also may include the context or the brand ethos around this new change in direction and how it should be incorporated in the business's marketing collateral. In general, the best style guides keep it simple, not overly complicated, and can be understood from non-designer, junior designer to senior level designers. If a style guide is overly complicated, we find that the client's team won't use it and end up creating inconsistent, unprofessional design collateral. The best style guides use simple language, simple visuals, and try to inspire the person looking at the guide to keep a high design standard. So what is in an actual style guide? So common things that are included in a style guide are the logo construction and clear space examples. This shows how much clear space or white space needs to be included around the logo when you're using it on any type of design. So this prevents it from being overcrowded in very busy backgrounds, or if you're putting it side by side with other logos, it gives it space so it can be as legible as possible or look its best at all times. Because we always want to make it look clean and professional wherever you see the logo. And this is particularly useful when you let other parties or let other organizations use your logo for marketing purposes, for advertising purposes. Obviously, you send them the files, but you also send them the guide. So when they're implementing into their design, they can see, okay, we need to allow for this much room, and just keep things consistent. That's the whole point of it. We want to keep things consistent. And in this part of the style guide, it can even include different logo lockups. So lockups are just different orientations or layouts of the logo itself. So you can have a vertical version, a horizontal version, or a more responsive logo mark, which is just a symbol itself, which is particularly useful for small places like social media profiles. So another common section you'll find in a style guide is the color application. And this includes the recommended color palette that should be used for all the design collateral. So whatever you're designing, whether it's a poster, business card, website, advertising posts. So this is crucial to keep everything consistent and keep a consistent look and feel, and know what exact color values need to be used for both print and digital applications. So the color breakdowns can include the hex value, the RGB value, or the CMYK value as well. This can also include an actual Pantone specific color code, which has been matched to a physical Pantone swatch booklet. This is very common for the bigger companies that can afford their own Pantone color printing. Typography. This showcases what fonts should be used throughout all design materials. So depending on the size of the project, we like to pick 1 to 2 font families or even stick to one, and choose the heading font, the body copy font, subheading fonts, or any other useful formatting ideas that we can think of. So this will show the client what to use and when to use it, what size it should be when they're creating a branded document. Another reason for this is we don't want non-designers to start picking crazy fonts that don't create consistency or promote the wrong brand message to their customers. Brand keywords. Sometimes we like to include the brand keywords that we discovered in the discovery phase in the beginning of the process. This helps the brand formulate a tone of voice and a consistent style that is authentic to the brand. It's just a great way for them to just sort of anchor their new tone of voice, whatever style of copy they're going to be using, any future sort of design styles. As long as they sort of follow those brand keywords, it's still going to be authentic to the new brand direction. So the most important part of the style guide is the application section, or when it shows you some examples of how to use the actual logo. So this showcases how we expect the brand identity to be applied to a typical design collateral. If we're not involved in this phase of the implementation, we still need to provide a framework for other designers to pick up and run with. Typical examples we like to showcase are letterheads, websites, social media images, business cards, or whatever is commonly used by the client. Another useful section is photography. To ensure consistency in their brand message visually, we also include examples of photography that the client should use in the design collateral. Not all photography is the same. Even when you're using like stock photography, we need to make sure that the images that they're using are authentic to the brand as possible, or at least look like they came from the same brand or the same photographer. The guidelines are there to help the client choose the right photography with the similar style or subject matter. And another useful section we like to include sometimes is the iconography. This is super useful when you're implementing a specific brand style. So providing a client with their own set of icons is super useful when they create presentations, marketing material, video advertisements. So these icons will carry through that consistent brand style as seen through the logos, typography, and photography. So once all the files are prepared, the style guide is added, the social media assets are added, the font files are added, we then chuck in a file type guide just to help the client out if they get confused of what file type to use and where. We'll then package it all up, send it to the client, and that's it. Another happy client, another successful project completed. So that concludes our final episode of the real life brand identity process. We're so thankful for you guys to join us on this journey, giving you feedback, giving you support. It really means a lot to us. Thank you for watching. If you found anything useful from this, please like and subscribe for more design content. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know what you want to see in the future. Put them in the comments below. Special thank you to SpaceLab for being a part of this project. They were just an awesome client to work with, and I've got nothing but good things to say about them. If you're interested, check out what they're doing. I'll put their link to their website below. They're doing awesome stuff. Support them. Follow them on their socials. To finish off, we've got some awesome feedback videos from SpaceLab themselves. So watch that, hear what they have to say about the whole process, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Hello everyone, I'm André, an electronics student engineer from SpaceLab. We were in need of a brand identity improvement, and after researching ways to achieve that, I found Black Bear Creative's amazing workflow, and then we asked for help.
Hi, I'm Ian, an electric engineering student from SpaceLab. Since the beginning, Justin led us through their process in different steps, and we always had the opportunity to express our goals and needs. Even us engineers were capable of telling a bit of our history.
Hi everybody, I'm Aline. I'm a designer in collaboration with SpaceLab. About the work with Black Bear, the workflow was just great, very clean and straightforward. Each step was necessary to build confidence that Black Bear Creative was in the right path to build our brand identity. And they gave us many opportunities to tell our feedback during all the process, so it was great.
Hi, I'm Professor Eduardo Bezerra, and I'm the head of the SpaceLab. I'd like to say that this visual identity forged by Black Bear is very important, not only to engage our students and researchers, but also to attract new projects to the lab. Working with Black Bear Creative was a great experience, and it resulted in a new and more professional brand, which is exactly what we've been looking for to represent our work in the laboratory. I wish you all could learn more from this video series and with our case study.